Hi, this is George Summers again. Today we're going to cover paragraph alignment in Google Docs. In a previous lesson, we learned about line spacing and other adjustments that you can make to affect the vertical spacing of paragraphs. Today we're going to learn about horizontal spacing changes you can make to the paragraphs. This type of change is known as justification or alignment of the paragraph. There are 4 kinds of justifications you can make to a paragraph. They are left, center, right, and justified, also known as full justification. The buttons to make these changes are here: left, center, right, and full justified. The changes affect the paragraph where the insertion point is, so I'm just going to click in a paragraph. Right now, I'm in the default setting, which is left aligned. Every line begins at the left margin and goes to the right. You will notice that the right margin is jagged for the paragraph. That is normal for a left justified paragraph. I can also make it right justified. Right justification or right align means that all the lines end at the right margin, but they don't begin at the same spot. Now, this is not common for a full paragraph, but it is common for things like headers, so that the line always stops at the right margin. So that is right alignment. I can also center align the paragraph with this button so that all the lines are, they don't start or end at the same spot, but they are centered to the page. If I were to draw an imaginary line down the center of this paragraph through the middle of the page, it should split each line right down the middle of the paragraph. This is less common for entire paragraphs, but for short paragraphs or for signs where you often have 1 or 2 line paragraphs, this is quite common. In another example of center alignment, if I were to have a title, let's add a title. So I'm going to put in a few returns here, and I'm going to type my title. Because it is center aligned, it's automatically in the middle of the page. I don't have to guess. Some people will attempt to center things by using spaces. This is not an exact science and will not work well, especially if you change your font size, because the spaces will also be increased. If I increase my font size, my title is no longer really centered very well. So that's something to keep in mind. People will often try and center with tabs. This is also not efficient, as you still have to kind of guess, and it's still not exactly in the middle of the page. So the best option for centering a title is to use the center align button and have the computer figure out exactly where the middle of the page is horizontally. If I were to increase the font size now, it's always going to stay centered. So that's center alignment. Lastly, back to my original paragraph, I'm going to use full justify, show you that setting. What that does is every line begins and ends at the right margin, but the last line of the paragraph is the exception, so that isn't spread out. What happens is little extra spaces are inserted between the words to make that happen. This is very common with legal documents. It gives the impression that a person is organized and has done their homework and has dotted their I's and crossed their T's, so to speak, so that they have presented a well thought out argument for their position. So that is left align, center, right align, and full justified paragraph alignment. I hope you found this lesson valuable. Thanks a lot. Subscribe to my channel.